Welcome back to the channel and another broadcast. Paul Peterhead, recovered addict. Glad to be here, glad to be clean. Clean by the grace of God, the company I keep, literature I read, morning devotions, nightly inventory, keeping honest, staying close to fellowship and to God. And now I'm really pleased today, this morning, to have been joined by Peter.
Hi guys, my name's Peter and I'm from Glasgow and I'm a grateful recovering alcoholic addict.
Epic. So today, Peter's going to be sharing his story of experience, strength and hope, his freedom from addiction. Really pleased about that. If you're new to recovery, new to the channel, or even if you're not new to the channel and you're here looking for sponsorship, we maintain current male and female sponsorship lists. A sponsor is someone that's had a vital spiritual experience, been through the 12 steps of sobriety, has found freedom from drinking and drugging, and is willing to take time to take through the 12 steps. They have a good working knowledge of the literature, the steps, the fellowship, the program, the meetings, and will help you through the 12 steps so you too can be liberated from the delusion of drinking and drugging. So if you're looking for sponsorship, let us know in the chat, and we will send you the male or female sponsorship list. On this channel, there are over 100 different broadcasts now. There's about 40 different personal stories. There's podcasts on each of the steps. There's 2 on step 1, 2 on step 2, 2 on step 4 now. There's also podcasts on the entire psychic change, spiritual malady, the ABCs of addiction, and much, much more on all the traditions as well. So there's lots of meetings to attend on this podcast, which you can pause, rewind, fast forward, and share, like, and subscribe. If we will have information about how to get to online meetings and in-person meetings. Bear in mind, you can pause and take a screenshot at any point. So without further ado, I'm really, really pleased that Peter's taken time to come and share with us today. So I'm just going to hand over the floor to you.
Yeah. Thanks, Paul. Well, guys, the first thing I'd like to start with is a wee bit about myself. I was raised in a single parent home and I had a great upbringing. I never ever seen like my mum drink or take any drugs, but I was brought up in a housing scheme in Glasgow and drinking and drugs was the norm. By the time I was 12, I was smoking weed. By the time I hit 14, I was drinking, I was sniffing coke, and I ended up in prison. When I got out of prison, I thought, this is a life, like, this is what life is about. Drinking, taking drugs, being part of the team, because I always felt like I was nothing. I never ever felt part of anything. Even when I was at home, I didn't feel like part of the family. So that's what drinking drugs at that time did for me. It gave me like that missing piece of the jigsaw. But at that time, when I went to prison for the first time, I was abused. And for a man, that's quite hard to speak about. So at that time, like, my head was going like all these different roads. And I didn't know how to speak about these things. And that's the thing. You need to speak about this stuff because if you don't speak, it just grows inside you like a horrible plague. But at that time, I didn't know anything better. I didn't know better. That's what I thought like guys did. We just bottled things up. By this point, I was smoking weed every day. I started taking Valium every day, but I was actually introduced to Valium by my doctor because I took a nervous breakdown. Because I was raised with my mum and my 3 sisters, and I never had a father. My father it was an absentee father. The only thing I remember about my father was him beating and trying to kill my mum. So I never had a trust for men until I met my grandfather. My grandfather was a major part of my life. He raised me to be a man, took me to the football on a Saturday, band practice on a Friday, church on a Sunday. He always took me to church on a Sunday with him. But when he died, I think that's when my nervous breakdown kicked in because I never had anybody to come and just give me a cuddle and tell me everything was going to be all right. So the like drugs and drink was like a comfort blanket for me. And that was my biggest mistake. I should have turned around and says, Mum, I need to speak to you. I need to speak to you, Gran. Whoever in my family, I should have been up and spoke to somebody, but I couldn't. because I believe men don't speak about issues. That's why I ended up doing my first sentence, and that's when the abuse happened. So by this point, when I came out, I was bad with drugs. Drugs were like my comfort blanket for me. It was like a warm blanket over me. By this point, my mum couldn't handle me. She didn't like the person I became. I didn't like the person I became. I was a horrible human being. I started carrying knives, committing crime. I, I was a horrible person that just thought I wanted everything and I didn't care when I wanted it because I wanted it now. By that point, my ma had to put me out the house because she calls it tough love because she couldn't handle Polos coming at the door, kicking the door in, looking for me, and hours in the night. And at the end of the day, my ma had her own life. She was working. My ma's a wee lovely woman, and she didn't deserve all that. And I get why she put me out the house. But at that point, I'm like, do you know what? I'm not a boy, I'm a man. I'm going to live a man's life. I'm going to take as much drugs as I can. I'm going to drink as much drink as I can. By that point, I met my girlfriend. She wasn't much of a drinker. She didn't take any drugs. She was the right lassie, but at the wrong time. And again, in and out of prison, going to the young offenders, thinking I was a big man, thinking I was a big shot. I was a shot caller. I was a nobody. I was a nothing. I was selling drugs. I had my own business. I was doing everything I could to have money because that's all I ever wanted was to have a good life. That's all I ever wanted. But before you knew it, she ended things with me. By this point, the addiction was getting really bad. I ended up in the adult prisons. That's where I was introduced to like Subutex and Suboxylane. And if anybody don't know what that is, that's basically it's a shortcut for heroin. It's basically when you're coming off heroin, they put you on methadone, and when you come off methadone, you go into the Subutex and Suboxylane. But by this time, I lost my business, I lost my car, lost my girlfriend, lost my house. And I thought, things can't get any worse for me. It can't. It's already, oh, the badness has already happened. It's all right. I can gain all that back up. That was funny. I did get worse. Before I knew it, I was living on the streets. So I was having to rob Peter to pay Paul. Started robbing drug dealers, and I thought this was funny because I was still a daft wee boy. I didn't realise what was going on in my life. I couldn't speak about what was actually going on in my head and my heart. By this point, I'd spent all of my Christmases, all of my New Years, all of my birthdays, and all of my summers in prison since I was 14 years old. I was in my early 20s at this point, and you should have thought I should have said, nah, this isn't working out for me. So I went to rehab. I lasted 3 weeks and I walked out. It was the biggest mistake I ever done. It was a religion that kind of put me off. As soon as I heard the God stuff, and even in the bedrooms that we all had, there was a crucifix above each bed. And I thought God was looking at me, but he was looking down on me, like he was chastising me. And God was always a touchy subject for me. So by this point, I'm living on streets, I'm robbing drug dealers, I'm robbing innocent members of the public just to get my drinking drugs. And then that's when I met my second long-time girlfriend. But before this, like during this, I was sleeping around, and I didn't care who I hurted and what girl I hurted, but I would never raise my hand to a girl. That was a thing. My granddad raised me right, but I would hurt them in other ways, like cheating on them and sleeping around and thinking I was funny. By this point, my second long-time girlfriend, I ended up working with her family. but she had just as much as a drug habit as I did. By this point, I'm selling drugs. I'm helping selling guns. I'm doing gun runs up and down the borders, and I'm selling more drugs than I could ever imagine. But before you know it, again, I'm taking more drugs than I'm selling. I'm owing more money out than I'm getting in. And the thing was, with me and her, we were good when we were sober, but when we were drunk or full of drugs, we hated each other. By this point, I'd owed out that much money that I didn't know if I was going to get took out to a field somewhere and get a bullet in the back of my head. So I ended up, I hanged myself because I just wanted it to be over. I didn't know which way to turn. I didn't know what I could do. It was so good. I didn't know who's there to help me. I've got nobody. I've got nothing. And then that's when the police came through my door, and I had 20 different police officers with armed response guns pointing at me. And it was the biggest fear I've ever had in my life, because I knew one step my life would be over. But that small bit in the back of my head said, say something, they can end it right now. One move and they'll put a bullet in your head and that be it. No more pain, no more hurt, no more heartbreak. You'll no be a disappointment to your family. Your wee mal will be able to be alright. Your wee mal will not be worried anymore. And then so I went to prison. I spent a year in prison on remand for a charge that I never even did. And my lawyer came to me and said, "You're going to get at least 20 years." To be honest, I thought that was a great idea, because even though I didn't do the crime, at least my mum could get some peace. But then a year later, I go up to trial, and the trial gets flung out of court, and I get out. And I promised my mum, "Nah, don't worry, mum, I'm not going to do this anymore. I can't do this life anymore. I want to be a better person." Again, a couple of months later, I'm back on the drugs again. I'm back drinking again. I'm back in with the same old people again, the same crowd, the people that didn't care about me. But I used to say to my mum would tell me, "Peter, these people don't care about you. The only way they want you is when they want your money." Because that was the thing. I always had money. I always had the best of gear. I always had the best of clothes and shoes. I always had a nice car. I had everything that a man could ever imagine. But I took every bit of that for granted. I had the nicest girlfriend. I took that for granted. I had the best family. I took them for granted. I even took my life for granted. Not just my life. I took my hope and faith for granted. And there was times I would pray. I'd be like, "God, please, please, God, just help me. Just help me get away from this life. Get away from this life, please." And I think God was playing an evil joke on me, because a few weeks later, my pal gets out of the jail. So I'm trying to help him, plus help myself. And I didn't realise you need to be able to help yourself before you can help another human being. And then that's when his girlfriend, she had a wee girl, and the wee girl was 6 years old. And this man molested this wee girl. Now, all that hurt and all that anger and all that heartbreak came back from when I was a child and it happened to me. So we all came up with a bright idea. We're going to take this guy away and we're going to do him in. So we did. And I thought, I'm doing it for my pals. They're going to stand by me. We all went to prison for it. And then when we went to our first court hearing, see my two pals, they stood in the dock and turned Queen's evidence on me, trying to put all the blame on me, even though the three of us all took part. We all took full blame for it. They tried to get me to take the full blame. And I looked at my wee ma and I knew, I'm done. My life's over. I ended up serving 8 years. 6 months into that sentence, I found out that I had a wee girl, a beautiful wee girl, and I finally seen a wee bit of hope. Somebody was going to look up to me and going to look at me with these so beautiful eyes and love me, no matter what. She died. I didn't feel like a man at all. I couldn't be there for my girlfriend at that time because I was in prison. And all the boys in prison, they came up with a bright idea. It's all right. Come on, there's a wee bit of this, there's a wee bit of that. Come on, all the boys are here for you. They weren't there for me. They just wanted to come in and kid on. They're trying to be my pal. So 10 minutes later they could go into somebody else and laugh and joke about me. That dafty's round there greeting because his Wayne died. They didn't care about me. But I was so done in my head that I believed they were my pals. They were there trying to help me. They weren't. They didn't care nothing about me. They didn't care if I lived or died. By this point, I was in my late 20s and I took every drug on the planet. I started smoking heroin. My head was a mess. I started seeing things and hearing things, and I just wanted to be over. I thought my hi-fi was talking to me, telling me just end it. Just end it. It'll be the best thing for you. Well, sorry to say, God had a bigger plan for me. By this point, I had a horrible record. My record was atrocious. For a boy my age, I shouldn't even had a record like that. I shouldn't even had my first charge, never mind the record that I had. I had convictions for attempted murders, weapons, drug dealing, selling drugs, caught with drugs, was to be possession of drugs, armed robberies, thefts, you name it. I was done with every kind of conviction you could think of. The only other convictions I never got done with was murder or any naughty charge because I don't believe in things like that. And then I'm sitting one day in my cell and I'm looking at the four waters because I locked myself away for 18 months. I didn't want to talk to anybody. I thought the screws were trying to kill me. I thought they were trying to poison my food. I thought I could see spiders climbing up my wall. It weren't even there. I was hearing things and seeing things and I was feeling emotions I've never felt before. And then I got a letter from my mum. Please, son, come home to me. And what she meant by that was no to just come home and do the exact same thing. She wanted her boy back. She wanted her son back. The boy she remembers, no the man that stood before her. The boy that she remembered before the drink, the drug, and the crimes and the problems. That's all she wanted. I didn't listen. I still took drugs. By this point, I could go through the alphabet, all the different drugs I was taking, and I couldn't drink because I was in prison, so I took more drugs just to get out my face, so I didn't have to remind myself where I was, what I'd done with my life, the pain and hurt and the PTSD that not just that I had for when I was stabbed or hurt with swords, but the pain and hurt I did with weapons to people. I was a horrible human being. And then I got a letter through the post, and all it had on it was two photos, and it was these two beautiful wee boys. My sister gave birth to these two wee boys, Barry and Charlie. Now, Barry had autism. He's got autism. So the first thing I did was I went to start going to education, and I learned sign language for him because we didn't know if he'd be able to speak or no. So I learned autism for him. Started doing maths and English, any art, anything I could do to get me out the halls, to get me away from the people I was sitting about with every day. Try to change my life while I was in there. Because if I don't start doing something new, it's just going to be a revolving door like usual. Because there's a thing that people in jail do, it's a prisoner thing. Oh, I'm going to do this with my life and I'm going to do that with my life and I'm no drinking, I'm going to go and see the family and get new trainers and I've new nice new tracksuit and I go and get a haircut and a sunbed. Nah, see when you take that first step or that threshold, it's in one ear and out the other. You forget about all that, what you said, because it doesn't mean anything anymore, you're free. And that was my biggest fear, because I was doing so well with my life, like even though I was in prison, I was starting to see sense in things. So the night before I released, I prayed to God, please God, just, I don't know if you're there or no, and I don't even know if you're there and if you want to do anything for me, but please help me. Please do something to help me. See, that first day I was released, I went to a meeting. And usually when I went to meetings, I'd walk out after 5 minutes because, again, I wasn't comfortable with like the God stuff and the praying. It wasn't really me. It was no really my thing. So I stuck at it. I went, no, I'm doing this. And the guy who was sharing that story that day, it was like he was like he was speaking to me. Like there was nobody else in the room apart from me. Even the room was full, but it felt like the room was empty and it was just me and him having a conversation. He was telling my story. And I finally felt that somebody understood me. Somebody understood what was going on in my mind, what was going on with my body, what was going on with everything that was going on in my life. This guy knew and could understand. And that's when he introduced me to his recovery links. And you know, something has been the best thing that's ever happened to me. It was hard at first because I wasn't just giving up like drinking and drugs. I was giving up crime. I was giving up old associates. I was giving up a life that I was so used to for 20 years. 20 years of my life, I lived in a bottomless pit. It was like I was an empty vessel. The engine was on, but there was nobody behind the wheel. I was just floating about in life. So I started sticking in with the meetings. Started doing recovery cafes. Got a sponsor, started doing the steps. Now I can say I'm 7 months clean. And it's the best time I've ever had in my life. I've got my family back. Every weekend I take my two wee nephews out to soft play and I go up to see them, we play computer together and me and my wee ma can go and get something to eat together and spend some time together. I've got to spend some time with my sister. I've got my wee flat, I've got my wee dog. I would never have had any of that if I never came into recovery. And that's the thing. The first thing I said at the very start of this meeting, there was something missing, a missing piece of the jigsaw. And that's what I thought drinking drugs filled, it didn't. These meetings, that was the missing piece of the jigsaw. I didn't find friends, I found a family. Family for all over. No, it doesn't matter if you're Scotland, England, Ireland, Wales, Canada, America. It doesn't matter where you are. We're all a big family. And they're here to support us. And that's the thing that's really helped me because now I've got my emotions back. I can walk out my door every day with my head held high. And it's the best thing that's ever happened to me because I've got my family back. I can breathe again. I can wake up happy. Every morning I wake up now, I'm not waking up going, oh no, what did I do last night? And worrying that it's either going to be the police that are going to kick my door in for something I did the night before, or somebody's going to try to kick my door in to kill me or stab me for what I've done the night before. I can wake up and I can walk down my street with my head held high. My belly's full. My wee dog, her belly's full. I've got a roof on my head. I stick in my recovery. What I do as well, I do boxing, which is part of a recovery boxing gym for recovering alcoholic addicts in Glasgow. I do that 3 times a week. And that's been the best thing as well because I always liked working out. Don't get me wrong, I've never liked lifting weights or anything like that, but like boxing, playing football, gone for a run, gone for a jog, even gone on a bike ride. This is what these places do, and they've opened my eyes up to a lot more. What I do now, every night I do 3 meetings a day. I do one at 2 o'clock, one at 8 o'clock, and one at 9:30. And straight after the 9:30 meeting, I sit with Paul, who's the one who's recording this today. Thank you, Paul. And he does scriptures. And the scriptures is amazing because it makes me feel like a sense of peace. It gives me a sense of belonging. Every night after I hear these scriptures, it's like a weight's being lifted off my back. And it's a great feeling. There's no other feeling like this. And I thank you, Paul, for that. And I thank this meeting, the Great Gratitude meeting, because we all need a higher power. My higher power is the people in the meeting, hearing their stories of survival. Every night I listen to these people and tell me they're telling us all the good stuff that they're doing and how happy they are. And do you know something? That's one of the best feelings that I've ever felt in my life, because I was selfish. I was a narcissist. I only cared about me and me only. I didn't care about anybody else. It was all about me. Now I can sit there and I've got these emotions that I can express now. And it's a great thing, recovery. It doesn't just give back your life, it gives you back your health, your sanity. It gives you real friends, real people who want to see you succeed in life. Real people who want to see you do what you can do. Because I've never really had good friends until I came on to the Great Gratitude meeting. Every day I look forward to come on these meetings now, because it's a sense of belonging. I've got money in my pocket now, because I was always resentful. That's the thing. Like, I would see somebody walking down the street and they would have like the latest trainers on, or the latest clays, or the latest tracksuit, and I'd be like, why has he got that and I can't get that? Why can I not have that? I could have. I just didn't see it. See, now I can actually go into the shop and I can actually buy myself a cold can of juice out the fridge. And it's the wee things like that you take for granted. But no anymore. Because I'm here. I'm free. I'm free of the chains of drink and drugs. My sobriety comes first. I might be selfish with that, but that's okay. You need to be selfish in your sobriety, because your sobriety is going to make you who you are today. It's made me who I am. And I just want everybody out there that's gone through these struggles every day, just to know that you're not alone. There's people here that want to help. All you have to do is take the first step. The first step the first step of the 12 is admitting you've got a problem. I think we already knew we had a problem. I believe the first step is when you take that first step into a meeting. It's the first step of your life. It's the first step of your new life. Thanks for listening to me, guys. And I hope if people out there still struggling or not, that you could get some form of help for this, some form of peace or hope, because that's what it gave me. Thank you, guys, and I hope you all enjoy the rest of your day. And it's been a pleasure. It's been my pleasure to sit here and tell you my story. Thank you. Anyway, Paul, back to you.
No, brother, thank you. That was great. Appreciate you, Peter. That was a great share. That was really, really great. Just a few half-time announcements. So, once again, if you listen to this message and you're looking for sponsorship, if you let us know in the chat with your first name and your number, we'll send you the list on WhatsApp. In a few months, there'll be a list on the screen of how to get to meetings, to in-person meetings. If you go to ca.org or ca online, the UK CA website, kanonymous.org.uk, get information about British meetings. Online meetings, there's hundreds of online meetings. You can find out about those at those websites. but also by looking at this screen that's on there just now. So there it is. So take a screenshot of that. All those meetings on that screen are on every single day. The UK Samaritans number is at the bottom right, as is the CA UK helpline. Me and Peter are found at a meeting called We Can Recover that's on 3 times every single day, 2 o'clock, 8 o'clock, 9:30. That's UK times. International meetings, anyone's welcome. And very powerful meetings, each of them are as well. So yeah, thank you so much. Oh, and do check out the other podcasts on the channel, friends. And if you listen to this and you want to appear on one of these broadcasts, again, just let us know in the chat, however you see this post, and we'll get back to you. Thanks so much, Peter. That was a really strong share. I knew it would be. And I enjoyed your showers with you from the beginning. And yeah, I think my first response is you got the identification, the sense of the fellowship, the sense of the community. I think that's a powerful thing. And indeed, I've just had on the screen there chapter talking about that in the big book, a sense of shared experience, a sense of shared purpose, a sense of shared destiny, and it's a really powerful cement, if you like, that binds us together, the pain and insanity of addiction, and also the joy and freedom of recovery. So that's the first thing I noted from your lovely share. And also, I don't have a great deal. I mean, I've never been sentenced for anything either. I got 8 weeks on remand. I had 3 or 4 breaks of the peace in a year, drunk, arguing with the neighbours. So I ended up, but I've never been like done a stretch like what you described, But I can relate to what you're saying. 8 weeks is quite a long time. It's long enough. And sobriety is a great way to live. And being restored to sanity is the gift of this program. That's what it is, and it's underestimated sanity, clear thinking. And it's a wonderful thing to have clear thinking, and the insanity is we thought we could only have that chemically, but the truth is we can have that every day from God, from a higher power. So welcome to anyone that's new to sobriety. You never need to drink or drug again. It is a program of mercy. It's a program of truth. It's a program of acceptance. It's a program of willingness. It's a program of action, And if you're new, keep coming to plenty of meetings. Like I say, we're found at that one there that's on 3 times a day, every day. You definitely don't need to put the camera on any of those meetings. Nor will you be required to speak, unless you want to. So you can absolutely come along and just listen to wonderful folk like Peter who take time to carry this message of hope and freedom and courage. And there's also now about a dozen different 24-hour meetings. I think there's 7 different AA 24-hour meetings and 7 different NA 24-hour meetings. That's 14 different marathon meetings that are on permanently, all day, all year, non-stop. And most of them are really healthy meetings. So fill your boots, folks. My suggestion would be get yourself some literature, come to some meetings, listen to the message, get some identification of the problem and the solution, and learn how to live clean. These steps are wonderful things. If you've never been through the steps and you're listening to this message, probably will be, what are they talking about, these steps? Well, it's things like radical honesty about the problem, what the circumstances that happen to you when you're drinking and drugging, that they arise. We often get so muddled up when we're using folks, but they arise because we're using. But the awful irony is we continue to use because of the unwelcome circumstances produced by using. And using becomes the lifestyle, you see. And once the habit's been formed, it's very difficult to break, particularly on your own. But with a fellowship, with sponsorship, with literature, with morning devotions, with meetings, with a sober network, it's absolutely doable. This program works every single time. I've never seen anyone fail that's thoroughly followed this path, or even near thoroughly followed it yet. I haven't. I really haven't. I've never seen anyone unable. I've seen folk too clever for this program, but I've never seen anyone that's genuinely had the willingness fail at this process yet. I really haven't. And I tune messages out. I have the privilege of working with folk every day, Peter, and I'm a counsellor as well. So, I see these issues every single day, You know, and I had 2 persons reach out to me this morning, desperados, you know, desperados. I won't give any details. I'm very discreet. But anyway, they're both in a pickle, you know, and there's help available for them. We don't shoot our wounded around here. And a good sponsor will do a review with somebody that's picked up again after a period of sobriety. You know, what happened in the week or two leading up. What was your thoughts and feelings in the day or 2 prior? Where was you in terms of literature, meetings, sober network, prayer, meditation, morning devotion? How did you get it? Did you go and get it? Did someone bring it to you? Did you ring up for it? Did you meet someone? What did you get? How much did you get? Where did you use in company on your own at home or out? How long did you use for? How long did the binge last? How did it feel when you started? What any big events while you were using? What led you up to wanting to quit? How do you feel now? Where are you at with the program? How do you want to proceed? That's a very brief rundown of a review. So hopefully I'll be doing that with at least one person shortly, probably in an hour or so. And then we'll proceed from there. You know, this was a person I was working with in steps. We was engrossed in step 1 when they did a vanishing act, and I get it. You know, when people are high as a kite, people, they don't want to be talking to someone about recovery. You know what I mean? It's not their first thought. Anyway, I'm waffling. Yeah. So just to come back to your wonderful share, Peter. You know, the dramatic circumstances you mentioned, gun running. You know, I got into the supply game. You know, I had men in suits turning up on 8 occasions to raid the house because of me supplying my spices to other folk. And to my mind, it's like, look, what's up? You know, oh, we're coming in. You know, but I, you know, obviously it's illegal, but I was always a very homely user. You know what I mean? It was friends and acquaintances. You know, and I never sort of hung out with real rotters. You know what I mean? If they were half decent and didn't stink, I was usually happy to use with them. You know, but if they were real baddies, I wouldn't, because I just didn't like what some of them were up to, like burglary and stuff like that. And so getting involved in the supply game, you know, I had acquaintances who were like people that I've met a few times who were into that kind of stuff, and it's dark in it, as you say, you know, and it's when you factor in unemployment and boredom and depression and all this kind of things, folks can spiral downwards, you know, and the chemical solution becomes paramount, doesn't it? You know. So let's talk about, you know, you mentioned meetings. How important, Peter, have meetings been in your sobriety?
Well, the meetings have been really important to me, because when I first started when I tried to when trying to get clean, I always felt a feeling of being lonely. I'd wake up and I would have nobody. So every time I jump onto a meeting, it's like I feel at home. It gives me a purpose, and it gives me a reason to listen to these people who who share their shares, and that gives me the extra motivation to stay clean, because it doesn't matter how dark things get, there's always a brighter day ahead. And that's the thing as well, like when I do the meetings, it's like it's a talking illness. You can't bottle all these things up, so it gives you a chance to share what's going on in your mind, share what's going on with your body, share what's going on with your health, because you don't know. Some dates in the meeting could be going through the exact same. It could give you some information that could help you. It might not be 100% the same information, but it'll be something that will help you. Like there's an old saying: we might be in different boats, but at the end of the day, we're on the same river. At the end of the day, that I mean, it doesn't matter what, if it's the drink or drug of choice. We're all suffering for the same problem. We're all going through the same issues, the same things. It might just be maybe a wee bit of difference, but they're all the same. So that's what it means, Dave. For me, the meetings, it gave me a sense of pride. It gives me a sense of belonging. And I enjoy doing the meetings because doing the meetings 3 times a day, it's getting me part of my routine. And I think routine is key as well, because it's boredom a lot of the time that gets you start with that stinking thinking. So doing these meetings, you get to meet some like-minded people like yourself, people that's been on that road, and people who's choose to jump onto the good road. And it's gave me that strength to keep going. That's what I enjoy about the meetings, because when I first started doing meetings, I didn't feel comfortable. I always sat at the back where nobody could see me. Now I'm in the meetings, I'm the first one trying to put my horn up so I can share, or trying to like read one of the like the wee notes. Like, I really want to get involved. And I was always a shy person, and it's and being doing the meetings has actually brought me out of my shyness. It's actually made me talkative. It's made me feel a lot better. I've met some great people in live meetings and through these meetings, and it's a great thing, these meetings, because where would we be without them if it wasn't people like yourself, Paul, who's, like they say, like, bought the t-shirt and wore it out. Like, you understand, what we're going through, and that's what they say. It's like, you can't just speak to somebody about, like, you can't just sit and talk to somebody at a bus stop and all my problems are away. Going on to these meetings, people have gone through all these issues, so it makes you feel a bit more at ease, because you finally feel that somebody understands you, somebody knows what you're going through, and that's what it does for me. It keeps me going. It keeps me
Absolutely.
obsessed. You know what I mean? It helps, doesn't it? It's
Absolutely, it does. And
Mm.
we are a family, yeah. Right,
Mm.
and if one of us is down, the other one's, if it's not necessarily down, and can lift up the other one. You know what I
Mm.
mean? And we're not all unhappy on the same day, are we?
Nah,
And
that's true.
you know,
That's true.
and I've never met you, but I'm quite sure if I did, I would help you. Understand? I
Mm.
would certainly wouldn't see you unhappy or hungry or oppressed in any way. Never met you, but I'm quite sure
Mm.
that's
Well,
that's
you actually do. You actually do help me every day. Every day when you do the scriptures at night, that helps me.
well, and that's how we roll. That's how we do it.
Mm.
So I'm not a hopeless dope dealer. I'm a
Mm.
dopeless hope dealer.
Well,
I
see, that's the thing.
uh,
Back in the day, like, you might have sold drugs, but now
uh,
you sell hope and faith.
that's right. That's right. And the
Mm.
only cost involved is to maintain a simple attitude, as it says in the book, a straightforward attitude.
Ex-
And and just to keep doing the right thing. I've heard it said, if you take care of what's right, God will take care of what's left.
Exactly, that is true. Because
Yeah.
with me, like, I struggled at the start with, like, kind of like, when I heard like some like the religious kind of stuff, and I was like, oh no, this isn't for me. I always used to open my mouth and shut my ears, but now I've learned to shut my mouth and open my ears and listen, because there's always a purpose in what people say. It doesn't matter what it is. If you listen closely, there's always a meaning behind everything.
That's right. Absolutely. Absolutely. And it's always refreshing to meet new folk in this process, that are enjoying sobriety.
Mm.
It really, really is refreshing. And the solution's to be in the solution, and what do we mean by that? So, well, we're in the solution right now. We're talking about recovery. We ain't talking about
Mm.
scoring. We ain't talking
Aye.
about who got what and what it's like and how much it is and how much you get and all that crap. We're not doing that.
Mm.
We're talking about
Because
living
do you know
free.
the one thing that bothered me about addiction was like, when I was in addiction, I would hear people saying, let's say for instance, we'll call the guy Joe, right? They say, oh, did you hear about wee Joe? He got these Valium off this guy and he's dead. The first thing you should be saying is, oh no, that's a shame. But the first thing we would say, oh, where is he? Where do we get him from? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's a it's a horrible life. Do you know what I mean? But it's good now that we can actually sit and we can talk about the blessings that we go through every day.
Or
And
it's
that's a key thing in it, is the blessings that we go through. Because every day we can wake up, we're happy, we're free, we've got money in our pocket. We can, if we want to go and buy ourselves a new pair of trainers, or even if we want to go and try out the latest restaurant and try out the new food, we can do that now. We can live life the way life was meant to be.
That's right.
Mm.
Absolutely. We can live rightly and be useful to others, and when your message is really powerful, it encourages other folk, and that's the bottom line. That's what we do. We support
Mm.
others in this process. And yeah, I mean, the essence of meetings is we get identification of the problem and identification of the solution. In the doctor's opinion, in our basic text, Alcoholics Anonymous, I call the big book, the first thing Dr. Silkworth talks about the fellowship. It isn't steps, it isn't literature, it's simply folk who've had the problem talking regularly with each other, their experiences and solutions around alcoholism and addiction. That's the first thing he points out about this process is folk helping folk with their understanding and appreciation of sobriety.
That's exactly that. Because do you know something? It's like, see the big book, like that's our Bible. That's what gives us the hope, faith, and courage to carry on every day. And Dr. Bob, he's gave a blessing to so many people, millions, hundreds of thousands of millions of people every day. He's gave us blessing to. And there's something I found the other day that I heard that only 2% of people in addiction recover. But Dr. Bob has gave us that courage to do that. It's a
Yeah.
shame, do you know what I mean? It's a shame because there's a lot of great people out there who's they've lost their life to this illness.
Well, that's right. You see, and we've just got to work with the tools we have, haven't we? And most
Mm,
people are doing the best they can in the circumstances they're in with the information resource available to them. But when it comes to 12-step recovery, this is us in the solution now.
mm,
Unfortunately, we have a wicked government that refuses to tell the world that 12-step recovery, AACANA, is here. And so the stark reality is the majority of addicts and alcoholics are unaware of 12-step recovery and unaware of its power and its success. And that's just how it is, and the reason why governments don't mention it more is because we mention God. The governments are very anti-Christian, they're anti-God. But anyway, that's another story. We've
yeah.
simply got to be the solution we want to see and be the change we want to
Mhm.
see. And our
No, I,
recovery
to- I totally
attracts
get what
others.
you're saying because, like, when I first tried to get clean of addiction, first thing the doctor tried to do was fill me up with more tablets. And I told them that I didn't want tablets. I wanted something to help me. So it's all government based. You're right, because the government just want to fill you up with these tablets like Librium tablets, and they don't work. The book works. The 12 steps work. Then these
So
meetings work.
Well, there's a lot of addicts get clear with illegal drugs, and they're on pills every day, and they're out for
Mhm.
lunch by tea time. That's just how, and that's how millions of addicts choose to recover from using illegal drugs. And that's their
Mhm.
journey. And also, when a
Mhm.
doctor's prescribing, it's eeny, meeny, miny, mo. He's never taken it. He's looking at a
Aye.
screen with half a dozen options and different quantities, and then he's like, right, try this. But it's the placebo effect very often. But anyway, we
Aye.
specialise in sobriety. Some folk find them very helpful, conversely. And I think the main thing for me to say at this point is if there's anyone listening to this and you're needing more hope, more encouragement, more inspiration, come to some of these meetings that I'll put back on the screen here. And you'll hear wonderful folk like Peter sharing their message of hope and freedom and courage every single day, folks. And in meetings, you're able to build a sober network. I personally believe a sober network's vital. Because it's a three-legged stool: service, unity, recovery. Service, this is service. Pushing a few buttons on Zoom, facilitating a meeting is service. Sending out the flyers, sending out morning devotions on WhatsApp, that's all service. Unity is the meetings and the
Mhm.
sober network. Recovery is staying clean and in the solution. Well, we need all three, but what a lot of addicts do is they either choose not to get service or slowly stop doing service. So that just leaves them with recovery and unity. So they're still going to meetings, they've still got some connections in recovery, but because the human condition is self-centered delusion and the addict problem is self-centered delusion, they slowly withdraw and isolate from the sober network, from the meetings. So then they ease off on the unity gradually, usually. Then they're left with recovery, which is better than nothing. They're still clean and they're still largely in the solution, but because they've lost the service and the unity aspects in their fullness, what happens then is they slowly stop living in the solution, and then they start working the steps backwards. They're back in their character defects, their behaviours. They're resentful, fearful, and harmful, angry and confused, and hurt people, and misery likes company. And then they lose their commitment to God in the third step. They don't see a need to turn their will and life over to God anymore. They start to lose the faith and trust of the second step, that there is a solution, that things can improve, and then they're back on the seesaw in step one. Maybe I can, maybe I can't, maybe I can, maybe I can't. And they're questioning whether they can use successfully. And that's how folks work the steps backwards, you see. So the solution is to be in the solution, which is what we're doing now. I'm planning on having a review with someone shortly, to try and help them recover again. One of these folk that reached out to me this morning. So that's being in the solution. An hour or so, an hour or two after that, I've got the privilege of helping out with a meeting here. That's and then I'll probably have another conversation. So what I'm trying to say is that's all being in the solution. So a recovering addict needs to be not far from either doing something actively that is solution based, or not long before you're about to. If the gaps become longer, that can be a problem for a recovering addict. What do you think?
You're right, because the thing is, when you stop doing, like, even being of service, like what you said, maybe being of service, like, when you go to live meetings, go and make the coffee, go and talk to people, go and put the chairs out, go and put the chairs back. It's when you start pulling yourself back, that's when you start, like you said yourself, you start going backwards in the steps. You need, even see just the wee thing you do every day, even say it could be sending a wee message to somebody, I hope. Just, hi, how you doing? Hope you enjoy your day. Just wee things like that. That's what helps me out as well, because like you get all these messages with people saying like, hi, how you doing? Hope your day is well. It gives you a smile on your face. It puts you in it puts you in a good place. So by the time like you actually leave the house, you're happy and you've got a reason to be happy. And it's a shame where a lot of people come into these rooms and end up going back out. You know what I mean? It is. It's really bad. But the only thing we can do is hope and wish for the best for them and hope that they come back to us. But being part of the group, it's about reaching out to each other, picking each other up when we're down. It's about looking out for each other. It's about being able to pick up the phone and just to phone somebody, just to ask them how their day's been. These wee things all add up to big things for us all. Because a lot of us have never had that. A lot of us have never had like people that's looked out for us or wished us a good day. The only other thing we've ever had is people coming walking up to us and asking us if we want to score some drugs. But just that wee message in the morning or somebody giving you a wee bit of hope that somebody cares about you, somebody cares enough that they've reached out to you. That helps me because I don't feel alone anymore. I feel like I've got people. I've got people there who want to see me succeed. People want to see me do well in my life. It's a great feeling. It's a feeling I've not felt in a long time. I spent 20 years numb, comfortably numb for 20 years, and now I'm feeling all these emotions that at the start I was uncomfortable with them because I didn't know what they were. But now just getting that wee message in the morning saying, hi, yeah, God is good, God is great, that puts a smile on my face. And then that boosts my day for me because when I leave the house, I'm happy and I'm not going to let anybody take that away from me. That's that does it for me, and it's a shame because these 12 steps work. It does work, these 12 steps. At the start, I didn't believe the 12 steps would work, but it did. It changed me.
That's
And
right.
what else? You know what I mean? It does, innit? And that's what they say. God is good. God is great.
That's right. Absolutely.
Mm.
Well, I'm right. Chuffed you've come along today. That's been bob on. Really, really good. And yeah, so like I say, anyone looking for more resources, check out the broadcasts on the channel. Feel free to put your first name, your number below wherever you see this posted. We've got some very healthy WhatsApp groups we can add you to, and also a plethora, a vast range of resources that we can send you on WhatsApp.
Mm.
And also you can come along to Zoom meetings and get yourself a sponsorship. You can also get yourself a sober network. And yeah, so in closing, Peter, is there anything you'd like to share with our listeners?
You know, what I was going to say is I'd like to tell you a wee story. A few days ago, I was out in the town and I seen these two women. Unknown to me, they were actually nuns, but they were in plain clothes. And the nun says to me, "Can I tell you a story?" So I says, "Aye, on you go." And she says, "There was this guy, and he's in the middle of a beautiful green field. And there's this stunning white picket fence down the middle of the field. On one side, it's all roasting and sunny, and God standing in the middle of it. On the other side, it's all raining and dark, and the devil's standing on it. So God was said to him, 'Come over here, we'll give you sobriety, we'll give you hope, we'll give you life, we'll give you what you need.' And the devil says, 'Nah, come here, we'll give you drugs. I'll give you money, I'll give you real riches, what you need.' So the guy says, 'No, what, I'm just going to sit on the fence.' After a few minutes, the whole place goes pitch black, the guy can't see nothing. When out works comes the devil, and the devil grabs him, and he starts screaming and begging, 'Please, please, I never choose, I didn't choose.' And the devil says, 'I don't care, you took too long.' And the moral of that story is, don't shy away. Go to these meetings, take that first step. Take that first step before somebody takes that step back for you. And thank you for letting me speak here today. It's been a real pleasure and it's been an honour. And I hope that I can give somebody out here some form of hope and some form of faith. And thanks, Paul, for your time as well. I knew it's been up there. You've been up first thing in the morning, and you got out your bed early the day to do this for me, and I really appreciate that. What you've done for me. And thanks, guys. I hope you have a good day. And thanks for listening.
Oh, it's great to hear you, Peter. That was really strong. I knew it would be. So once again, folks, come to plenty of meetings. You can find that new lifestyle, find some hope and some freedom and some courage. You know, we'll be here for you. Peter, thank you so much for coming along today and sharing for the group.
No, Paul, thank you.
That message of hope. And yeah, it's the miracle of sobriety is available to anyone. You know, anyone can recover if they're willing to be honest. If they're willing to have some acceptance, some commitment. You know, anyone can recover. So come along to some meetings, folks, and build that sober network, and we'll be here to support you in the process. You know, it's a great way to live. You never ever need to use again, and you can come along and find that new lifestyle. So appreciate you, Peter, being here and taking the time. And yeah, so check out the other broadcast. So yeah, okay, family, stay safe, stay strong in the solution. And once again, thanks, Peter.
No, thanks, guys, and all guys, stay strong, stay in the meetings, and great gratitude is one of the best meetings I've been on. 2 o'clock, 8 o'clock, and 9:30 every day.
I
It's
think
one of
you're
the best
referring to
things that's
we
happened.
can. I think you're referring to We Can Recover, aren't you?
Oh, sorry, aye, sorry. That it's 2 p.m., 8 p.m., and 9:30 every day, guys. It's helped me and it's blessed me, and it can bless you too. Thanks, Paul.
Okay, excellent. Thanks for being here. Stay safe, stay strong, family in the solution. Sure.